here's 7 books that have changed my life and that will change yours too. Book number 1 is The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and it's a classic. This truly just opened my mind up to the fact that yes, you can actually make money online. You can make passive income online, and you can literally travel and do all this stuff, and you barely have to work through the use of like virtual assistants and different things like that, automating things. And you can just live your life to where you can do whatever you want, and your businesses run themselves practically on autopilot. You only have just a little bit of time to check in with things and do the most important things, whereas other people can handle the day-to-day operations. And it's just a fantastic book. It really shifted my entire belief about making money, and like, because we always hear about, oh, you go to school, get a job, and you have to work all these hours. But this really opened my eyes that that's not the only way. There are ways to where you can actually make money while you sleep and make money even when you're not working. And Tim Ferriss did such a great job with this book. Like, I highly recommend it. I'll link to all these books in the description for you guys, so you guys can get it on Amazon or whatever. But this was a really game-changing book for me. And all these books are in order of when I read them, and I read them at different stages of my life. I read that one probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And some of these, are closer to the present day when I read them, but others it's been a few years. But second one, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. This is like the Bible of self-development. This is like, there's so many incredible things in here. He goes in depth into a lot of the topics I talk about on this channel, and that many other self-development topics or channels talk about. He goes into in depth on limiting beliefs, on how to change your beliefs, how to adopt empowering beliefs. He goes into your rules, your internal rules, because our internal rules control how we feel, because we have certain criteria for what has to happen for us to feel a certain way. For example, you may have to say, oh, well, the only time I feel successful is if I achieve the goal that I set for myself, or the only time I feel successful is if my kids act a certain way. Well, what happens when your kids don't do what you say? You're not going to feel that happy very often if your happiness is dependent on other people. And so he goes into how to change your rules, what rules are, how to find out your rules right now, and then how to change them, adopt more empowering ones, and a bunch of other stuff like empowering questions. He goes into creating a vision for your life, creating goals, what your values are, and how your values control your entire life. That's another big thing that he touches on. We all have certain things that we value more than others. Some people value security at the top of their list, and it's a hierarchy. So people may value security at the very top. Then it could be adventure, but there are conflicts with values. So if someone values security as their number 1, but they value adventure at number 2, there's a conflict there, because you can't be adventurous without sacrificing some security. So if you're not fulfilling that second value of adventure, then your values have to change. Otherwise, you're not going to feel good very often. You're wanting to fulfill the value of adventure, but your first value of security, is not letting you. And so you have to change your values. He talks about how to change your values, all this incredible stuff. Like, guys, literally, if there's one book out of all these that I would get, it's that one. Like, by far, that has changed my life more than anything. I've read it like 5 times, and it's just truly blown my mind with the different things and all the different resources and tools at your disposal that you can use to change your life. And so, very powerful book. Still one of my favorite of all time. The third one is The Key to Living, Law of Attraction by Jack Canfield and D.D. Watkins. Another amazing good. It's just like, it's one of those feel-good books. Like, you feel so good reading it, and truly, there's so much wisdom and things that you can apply in your life with this book. And it goes into Law of Attraction. I'm sure you guys have read The Secret, or if you guys haven't, then also recommend it. But this goes into more in depth on like how to apply the Law of Attraction, what it is, and then how to apply it into your life using things like, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's like, affirmations, vision boards, stuff like that, different things that you might have heard before. but it also goes into some other things that you may not have heard before. And it's just a great book. It really shows you the value of why it's so important to feel good, because when we feel good, we automatically have more confidence and belief in ourselves to then go and strive for our dreams. And when we have that belief, then we automatically tap into more potential, and we take more actions, and we take more of the right actions that will lead to the result that we want. And that's why people achieve their goals. And when they achieve their goals, they're like, see, told you you're a stud. And then that reinforces their belief. They tap into more potential, take more action, they get greater results, tap into even more belief, and it's a positive cycle. But most of the time it's the opposite. Most of the time people feel so bad about themselves. They have such little belief in themselves that they barely tap into their potential. They take such little action, and the action that they do take is usually the wrong one. And as a result, they get poor results, and then it reinforces their belief that it's like, see, why even try? I told you it wasn't going to work. And then it goes in a downward spiral. And so this book goes into why it's so important to feel good, how to feel good consistently. It's not a myth. Most people may think that it's impossible to feel happy all the time or a lot of the time. You can't be happy 100% of the time, but you can, because we wouldn't appreciate the highs and the lows if that was the case. And sometimes negative emotions, the emotions that we deem negative, like fear, doubt, overwhelm, anxiety, stress, those things can be a signal for us to change. And this book shows you how to feel more or feel better consistently, how to feel good consistently in different things you can apply into your life, and how the law of attraction is really at work in your life, because it's true. It's not fake, it's not BS. And it's like, even if you don't have any evidence to support it, then why not believe in it? Because it can only help you, it can't hurt you. So why not believe in it? But this book will really open your eyes on the law of attraction, just how to improve your life in so many ways. Fourth book, Psycho-Cybernetics. This is incredible as well. This is probably another one of my top favorite books. Really life-changing, because Maxwell Maltz, the author of this book, he was a plastic surgeon, and he was doing plastic surgeries on people, who may have thought they had a crooked nose or crooked ear or whatever. And he realized when he did the plastic surgery, before the surgery, those people would have such a low self-image, or they would see themselves as ugly, as a misfit, that they couldn't do anything right. They'd have such low confidence. But then after the surgery, once their nose was fixed or whatever, then it's as if their entire life changed. They automatically were more confident. They saw themselves as a greater person. They were happier. They were more fulfilled. And he realized it wasn't the surgery itself. It was simply that, fixing the abnormality that they thought they had, which most of the time the people who were going in for the surgery didn't even have a crooked nose or whatever. They just thought they did. They had the limiting belief that they did. And he realized when they did the surgery, then their entire self-image changed. Their identity changed. And he goes into the topic of self-image, and it's so important. That's why most of the time people try to change their life and they don't have lasting results. They don't have lasting success or improvements in their life. It's because you haven't found a way to change your self-image. And that's exactly what Maxwell Maltz talks about in this book. And self-image is basically our identity. It's like who we believe we are. Most people may believe that, I'm not confident, nothing seems to work out for me, or I'm a loser. And that's their self-image. And as a result, they take poor actions. They don't see themselves highly. And so they don't perform well because they see themselves as a loser, or I can't do anything right, or a failure, or whatever. But when you change your self-image, you change your life, and you change your life consistently and permanently. So this is another great book. This is probably behind Awaken the Giant Within from Tony Robbins. This is the second best book I would highly recommend you guys get out of all these books. And it's just fantastic, the different ways he goes into it, because he backs everything up with science, his own experiments, his own studies, because he really became a practical psychologist about this stuff. Since he was seeing so many patients, he realized that he didn't have to perform surgeries on people to get them to feel more confident, to get them to change their self-image. And so it's just an amazing book. Highly recommend you guys go check this one out. This is guaranteed to change your life. Fifth one, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, another fantastic book. This one really opened my eyes too. It's about positive thinking, but it's not about the positive thinking that we usually think of. We usually think of, pretending everything's all good, unicorns and rainbows, and ignoring the present reality and our circumstances. This takes a different approach. This takes a more practical approach to how to feel good consistently, kind of like all these other books here, but he really gives some incredible advice, practical, easy advice that can make you feel better and happier on a consistent basis. And I love his style of writing. This book is a little bit more religious, like it has a lot of quotes from the Bible and stuff, but they're just so powerful. They reinforce the message that it's trying to preach in this book. And it's incredible the things he teaches. Like, he teaches how to get that winning feeling. That's one of the chapters in here. I forgot what it's called. It may not be called that, but it's something like that. And, expect the best and get it. He talks about the importance of expecting the best, expecting what you want as fact, as that, yes, it is going to happen, not believing in defeat, not letting defeat drive you, or not letting defeat control your life. And there's so many other great things he talks about. And he talks about the importance of mental imagery as well, and how your mental imagery controls how you feel. Because the images you see in your head, usually we feel bad about stuff when we see mental images in our head of things that we don't want to happen. And as a result, negative feelings like stress, overwhelm, anxiety, fear, self-doubt, all of those manifest as a result of those negative mental images. So if we change our mental images by focusing and seeing pleasant experiences in our mind, then we will change our entire life, and we will change how we feel in an instant. And he really goes in depth into this in his book, and a bunch of other amazing tips in here. So highly recommend this book as well. This is also a life changer. And book number 6, this is literally this is my favorite storybook, like self-development storybook of all time, Way of a Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. And this is such an amazing story. I read this in one night. Literally, I remember staying up till 1 a.m. reading this book, but it was so amazing. Like, you get so captivated in the story. Unlike most other self-development books, this is all story based. And the vast majority of the story is true, based on Dan Millman's own experiences, which is incredible. And I won't spoil the story for you guys, but basically, Dan Millman, he meets this guy named Socrates at this gas station one night that completely changes his life. Like, it just completely changes his perception on reality and how things are in the world. And it really teaches you about happiness, how to be happy. Like, truly, if there's any practical advice or any tip that you could follow about happiness, like, this will change everything on how you view happiness, how you view your entire life. So it's a little more spiritual, but it is so powerful. Like, this book has had, even more than all the other books, this has had a profound change in how I view the world around me now. Like, and it's such a great story, guys. Like, I love reading stories. We all love reading stories. That's how we learn as people. And it's just a fantastic story. I like how it's different than most other self-development books, where it's just tips and maybe a story every now and then. But this is completely story based, and it's such an exciting story. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and you guys will love this book. Like, definitely get this book. This is 100% worth it in every way. So that is book number 6. Book number 7, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And this was, I think it was the book he wrote right after Think and Grow Rich. And that one, or this one, wasn't published until I think 2006 or sometime relatively recent. It wasn't published when Napoleon Hill published Think and Grow Rich. It took a lot longer to publish this because people thought it would be so against what people think in our society that it would be so heavily criticized that, you know, nobody would read it, and it would just anyway. So they waited to publish it until actually Napoleon Hill and his wife died, because I think his wife didn't want it published for quite some time, and then the Napoleon Hill Foundation published it after both of them died or something. But anyways, this book really will it will change your perception of reality. It will flip your whole world upside down, because a lot of people, there's certain things in society that, you know, not everyone, or that we follow without really giving it a second thought. You know, whether it is like going to school or getting a job, or you know, different things like that, getting good grades. Like that's all seen as important, especially in Western society. And this really changes your perspective on that. And it's an interview between Napoleon Hill and supposedly the devil about how he uses certain things in our environment to manipulate us into feeling fearful, into feeling self-doubt and stress, anxiety, worry. And it's such a great book. It's literally like in interview format, like, you know, Napoleon Hill asking a question and the devil answering. But it's so interesting, so fascinating to hear what the devil's reply is to a lot of these things. And they are true. They are true to the fact. These are not like, this is not BS or some airy-fairy stuff. This is legitimately true. And you will realize that as soon as you read it, how true it is. And it just opens your mind to how many people are blindly following, you know, just the status quo. But if you follow the crowd, that's never the right answer, because how many times have people followed the crowd and it was the wrong choice? How many people, you know, ended up doing drugs or smoking or whatever in, you know, the late 1900s, and obviously that wasn't the healthiest choice. So the crowd is not always right. It usually isn't right. You shouldn't be doing things that everyone else is doing. The reason why people are successful is because they do certain things that are different than what everyone else does. That's why they're successful. And so this really opens your eyes to what the masses are doing and how a lot of the things that they do are not the most beneficial in your life, and how they can actually hold you back. And it's just a fantastic book. Another one, highly recommend. But these are all, that's it, guys. Those are my 7 books, but these have all changed my life in a drastic way. And I hope you guys get these books and read them for yourself if you guys haven't already. Let me know down below if you guys have read these books and how they've changed your life. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys and have a discussion about that in the comments. But make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys would like to see from me more on this channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, y'all.